Welcome to U.S. News Source Channel. Ukrainian armed forces reached the border of Crimea. Operations in critical areas have been launched. Russian soldiers attacked from an unexpected area. Crimea can witness new operations at any moment. It has been reported that the military arm of Russia was hit from 140 kilometers from the front line. Mysterious explosions have been reported in the Chongar area. Ukrainian army suddenly launched an attack from an area that the Russian soldiers did not expect. Ukrainian armed forces are causing the Russian soldiers to worry, even at positions that cannot be reached by weapons such as the HIMARS missile systems. Explosions have been reported in the Chongar area at night. Moreover, a Russian military convoy came under fire. Ukrainian army carries out operations using various weapons, especially in the last days of the war. Ukrainian armed forces, which carry out critical moves and strategic advances on every front, gain many advantages thanks to such advances. While tensions between Ukraine and Russia have increased in recent days, the violence of the operations on the Eastern Front has started to increase. In fact, it was reported that the most severe attacks in recent years were carried out on the Eastern Front. Russian military points continue to be destroyed in the region with each passing day. Moreover, operations are not limited to the Eastern Front. New operations have also been launched on the South and Southeast fronts. After the Ukrainian army recaptured the Kherson region, it was expected that the moves towards the Crimea on the border would increase. Then, various measures were taken on the territory of Crimea, and explosions occurred at several Russian military points. Then, this time, explosions were heard in the Chongar region, which is very close to Crimea. The Ukrainian army launched an attack in this region, surprising the Russian soldiers. If the Ukrainian troops can gain dominance in this region, the moves towards Crimea may increase. Because, once deployed in this border region, many points of Crimea will come within the range of the missile systems used by the Ukrainian troops. For this reason, the tension in this region is increasing day by day for both sides. At the same time, flames rose on the southern Kherson front. The mayor of Melitopol explained to Ivan Fedorov that a convoy of Russian soldiers came under fire in an area on this front. It is known that this convoy was for the transfer of additional military resources to the front. However, as a result of these explosions, serious losses were given by the Russian soldiers. All kinds of moves like this ensure that many attacks can be prevented. In addition, the Ukrainian rocket and artillery units, which have been increasing their accurate moves since the beginning of the war, neutralized more than 10 Russian soldiers and destroyed the Russian ammunition depot and 3 command centers. With these increasing attacks of the Ukrainian armed forces, Russia continues to lose at least 300 soldiers daily. This reduces the motivation of the soldiers fighting in the field and causes them to want to flee the war. Number of Russian soldiers who suffered losses or surrendered due to the difficulties on the fronts began to increase day by day. In fact, this time, it was reported that a Russian soldier tried to escape from the army 5 times, but was caught by the Ukrainian security service each time. Moreover, it was announced that more than 130 soldiers in this soldiers' regiment surrendered their weapons and stopped fighting. However, it was stated that these soldiers attempted to escape because the Russian commanders did not allow them when they realized this. These escaping soldiers, on the other hand, are constantly found by the Ukrainian units and they are made to surrender. At the same time, according to a senior official in the region, it was announced that the Russian soldiers had a lot of difficulty and fear in the face of the Ukrainian forces. With the increase of these escapes and surrenders, it seems that the Russian army felt quite helpless and their motivation decreased considerably. On the other hand, it has been reported that Russia has started new movements towards Belarus. Russia has started to transport many military equipment to the southern border of Belarus. According to the statements, many Russian soldiers and war vehicles have started to be deployed to this region. It was stated that these equipments were sent piece by piece in stages. Pieces of equipment have been shipped over the past few days. It was stated that the first stage sent included 6 covered wagons and carriers and was deemed insufficient for the attack. Afterwards, Russian soldiers loaded more than 20 tanks and more than 15 Ural vehicles onto the platform at the Zaslanovo train station. These equipments were also set out to be delivered to the border Slutsk region. Then these flows continued to be provided with many Russian military equipment and various logistics lines. It is thought that all these military equipment and ammunition will be delivered for the joint exercises of the Belarusian and Russian armies near the Ukrainian border. In the past days, the Belarusian and Russian leader met in the Minsk region, the capital of Belarus, and held a meeting. Within the scope of this meeting, the Russian leader explained that they talked about the military training that should be provided between the two countries, the production of new military equipment and the training of Belarusian military pilots. However, after this meeting, it is thought that Russia may include Belarus in the war. In fact, this has almost already happened. Because, although Belarus does not accept it, its military support to Russia and the use of its territory by Russian soldiers for attacks against Ukraine attracts as much reaction as it is involved in the war. Because attacks against infrastructures in Ukraine are carried out through these lands. All these situations caused both Ukraine and especially in NATO countries on the border to take action. According to breaking news, this time Poland will deploy long-range PUT1N'S air defense systems in the Lublin region, on the border of both Belarus and Ukraine. In this regard, the Polish defense minister reported that these anti-missile air defense systems will soon be deployed in this province. There are also many purposes for deploying in this region. As it is known, in recent days, Russia has started various preparations with its reactionary speeches. In addition, NATO countries, on the other hand, felt the need to take precautions and took action after Belarus and Russia started joint military preparations. In line with the increasing possibilities of expanding the scope of the war, such deployments and exercises have been increased in recent days. Earlier, several NATO countries had begun to deploy their military resources to the border of Belarus and Russia. These moves will have caused an increase in anxiety on the part of Moscow, as Russia took action to increase its deployment and various preparations in the regions close to the border. However, in the event of a possible expansion of the war, the losses on the Russian side may increase even more. On the other hand, it was reported that the President of Ukraine Zelensky will go to the United States. Ukrainian leader will make his first foreign visit since the beginning of the war, and will do so to the United States on December 21st. Military and diplomatic relations are expected to be discussed at this important meeting. It is of great importance to establish various relations with this powerful country, which has been the country that has provided the most support since the beginning of the war. Because, as it is known, various advantages were gained in the course of the war thanks to many air defense and missile systems coming from this country. In the long run, one of the most important factors in the war is the military and economic relations with the countries. In this war that lasted for months, both countries suffered many casualties. In order to compensate for these losses, support from many countries and the development of the country are required. Russia has difficulties in this regard. Because, as it is known, due to the war, his relations with many countries deteriorated and he was exposed to sanctions. For these reasons, there are serious problems on the fronts. Ukraine, on the other hand, is able to gain many advantages on the fronts thanks to the increasing military and financial support. In the coming days, all these developments will determine the course of the war on behalf of the countries. Now, every move taken and every decision made must be in a much more strategic direction. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We have reached the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. You can easily follow new videos by subscribing. I wish you all a war-free day. See you.